Hello, everyone. Happy New Moon to you. Today is November 7th, 2018. This is Molly McCord, and welcome to this podcast. This is the Wednesday show where we talk about the astrology and energies of right now, November 7th to November 14th, and we have big energies happening now. I bet you've been feeling it. I bet you've been tuning into it in some manner. On November 6th, we had Uranus go back into Aries at 29 degrees. It's traveling retrograde. So that's a significant shift with an outer planet going back into the fire sign of initiation, leadership, pioneering, and self-identity. Today we have this powerful Scorpio New Moon. It's at 15 degrees of Scorpio. Tomorrow, that is November 8th or 9th, depending on your time zone, Jupiter enters Sagittarius. And then finally on Sunday, we have the 11:11 energy portal. The 11:11 portal, which is always a time of mastery, integration, higher energies coming through as if you're walking through a door into another area of potentials, another place to use your energy, to be conscious, to be awake, to be aware. It's a big time. And then, not only that, as we go into the middle of November, we're going to have another powerful day on November 16th when 3 personal planets are going to be changing direction or signs. I'll be talking about that next week, but I want to give you a heads up that November 16th and 17th is also a powerful time frame. So chances are, again, you are feeling these energies, you are sensing them, and you know that something is up, right? Things are moving. There is more movement. There is more acceleration. Perhaps there's something you felt stagnant or stuck. It's busted free or busted out. In Monday's show I just did for you, it was about the North Node in Cancer and how that is an energy that is teaching us about trusting ourselves, teaching us to trust our feelings. The North Node in Cancer is showing us where our feminine self is ready to grow and stretch and expand. And as the North Node moves backwards to 29 degrees of Cancer, it is being squared by Uranus at 29 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets or points there at that 29 degrees, especially of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, there is a very fast-moving energy here between the North Node, which is showing you something new about your feelings, and Uranus in Aries triggering it, perhaps through anger, an intense feeling, an intense reaction, something you didn't know was there. And this is to help. This is a catalyst for the healing. But it's very, what's the word? It can even be unconsciously occurring. So here's an example. When a child falls or hurts itself, you can wait milliseconds and then hear the crying right away, right? Something hurts, and then the pain comes out through the tears. That's what this energy is. Both Aries and Cancer are associated with youth, with our younger selves, with stepping into who we are, understanding our energy. They're beginning energies, if you will. So there is something here that could trigger you around feelings, memories, experiences that you thought were dormant. You thought you dealt with. You thought it was done. Or you thought logically that it wasn't something that would get to you or bother you. And then this Uranus in Aries triggers it. It's a fast-moving, out of nowhere, quick, impatient trigger. And all of a sudden, you are in this energy or feeling something that you didn't realize you still had to move through. And so when that child falls or hurts itself and the tears happen, those tears are just a natural way of dealing with the pain, of the sadness, of the sorrow, right? And it's normal, and we expect it, especially if you're a parent. You understand that once you hear a loud bang in the other room, you just have to wait a few milliseconds and then you'll hear tears, right? And you know the formula. But as we get older, we tell ourselves, hold it together. Don't cry. Be strong. Don't go into your feelings. Be mentally on top of this. And we basically suppress our natural need to let the pain out. Right now, if you're triggered, if something's coming up, if something is being revealed to you quickly and you have that pain or you have something that needs to be expressed, this North Node in Cancer is saying to trust your feelings and allow that to move through you. Allow those feelings to come out and those emotions to flow. Because this energy between Uranus at 29 degrees and the North Node is going to take you further because you're willing to go into what you really feel about it. And so this can be, again, something from your childhood, something from the past, something you thought was done. And the North Node in Cancer is showing what else needs to heal and what else needs your nurturing, your care. And you know how after the child is done crying and they're like, okay, I'm okay, I can stand up, yeah, I'm okay, it's not that bad, I'm not really that hurt, and then they just move on with their day. And they run and they play, and that's that. But as adults, we've learned to hold back some of that because there's also, it's a time and place thing. It's not always appropriate to cry in the middle of a meeting or to cry in the middle of the subway. But we hold back the feelings, and then the feelings stay in us. So I really wanted to bring that up because that's part of the energy right now. That's part of what we are doing to elevate ourselves, to let go of more emotions or more parts of ourselves that just need to be released. And it's a releasing energy. So don't judge yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't overthink it or overanalyze. You're just allowing it to be felt and released and complete. And this energy will be strong all month, as Uranus is at 29 degrees all month. And then into December, it will continue the square to the North Node. Now keep in mind that also means it's squaring the South Node as well. And so the South Node, which I'll talk about in a few weeks, some of you asked if I was going to do a show on that. Yes, I will. I'll do a show that focuses on the South Node in Capricorn. And that is also the father wound. So here we are, activating the parental axis, the mother and the father, what that means to you, what that has been in your life, where those roles, where those individuals have been healing for you, or perhaps there's more that you're needing to move through. And that is what's being triggered in November and December as Uranus moves back into Aries and squares the South Node and the North Node. So I want to give you that heads up because if something comes up, the best thing to do is to feel it, even if that feels vulnerable and scary and not something you want to do. But it's showing you where you're ready to let something go. And so much of November is dynamic and uplifting, and there's other energies here that will help you have a stronger comeback, if you will. Like you'll energetically feel that 180. So even if you feel something trigger you and set you off and you have a strong reaction, you're going to come back faster than you realize. You're not going to stay in that place for too long. The energies are moving too fast, my friend, and chances are you're much further along in this than you realize. If you've been doing your work, if you've been tuned in to your own healing journey and what is essential for you, you're going to move through this faster than you probably expect. So trust that. Trust your feminine self. Trust your feminine nature to take care of you, to nurture you, to love you. And that will also help with anything that could come up. Now, this new moon today is at 15 degrees of Scorpio, and I have a separate video for you on YouTube that goes through the chart and the energies. And it's a powerful new moon because of how the sun and the moon together at 15 degrees are receiving cosmic support from Pluto at 19 degrees of Capricorn through a sextile and Neptune at 13 degrees of Pisces through a trine. So what we have here is huge cosmic support for who you are now. And I'm getting this image of a beautiful doorway approaching that I feel is truly that 1111 gateway portal of higher energies that supports the next place on the spiral, the next place that you're elevating up to. And there is a part of you, okay, so I see an individual. I see it as a female, so I'm going to trust that. And she is letting go of garments she's been wearing. And she's shedding her skins, plural, skins, that are no longer correct. Like they're too small or they feel too itchy, scratchy. They're just not the right fabric anymore, right? So it's like peeling off these garments, and she's just letting them fall away, sort of like a snake. How a snake sheds its skin, it's called molt, the molting of the snake skin, and that's because the snake has grown too big for that skin. And I feel this as a very feminine energy, which applies to men and women, and it's that sense of where I've held back who I am within my own essence, within my own being, and these garments are just falling down, like just falling off her arms. And this gorgeous gateway, it feels really big. I'm hearing 11 feet. Well, there you go, right? 1111 portal. Of course, it's an 11-foot gateway. And it's meant to be this beginning energy, this sense of, okay, I've come this far. I've walked this path. I've understood so much about myself. And now I'm feeling a heaviness because I know that there are people who have always been in your heart and have been in your life, been in your world. Wherever Scorpio energy is in your natal chart is where you're continually transforming. And so whichever house is ruled by Scorpio for you, or houses, is where this transformation is occurring and will continue to occur in your life. And so there's people associated with every house in our natal chart. And those are the areas of life where we experience the turnover, where we let go, right? We have a purging. We have transformed our own self, and so we let go of those who have served us beautifully. We say namaste, which is truly honoring a soul, honoring what their gifts have been to you, whether that's through healing, lessons, growth, expansion, anything really. And it's understanding how now you must continue forward, and you must do so with peace. Well, you don't have to, but that's a choice we are able to make, is to find peace with the transformation, to be at peace with who we are becoming next, and to allow ourselves to continue forward on our journey. And that's what Scorpio gives us the strength to do. Scorpio is a strong energy. It's a strong sign. And the sun and the moon in Scorpio are saying that if you have the power within you, if you're connected to the power within, you will be able to continue to walk forward with that power. But if you have been receiving or relying upon power outside of yourself, then that's where the transformation is needed. That's where you're being guided or invited to summon that energy within you, to summon that power within you, and to not be codependent on others, to not be overly merged, overly reliant upon others, to not be too invested in their energies, but instead to be invested in yourself first. And that allows you to show up in your power, to show up in your strength, and to show up in this essence of who you really are. And so this is a time right now of the walking forward, of the allowing certain garments and fabrics to fall away, and allowing it to be something you can bless and understand from a higher perspective has been supportive of you. And that's the Neptune trining the sun and the moon, the Neptune in Pisces that gives us that higher spiritual perspective and understanding, that understands everything is meant to be transmuted and changed. And if we can be in our power as these changes occur, then we've never lost anything, truly, because your power, the deepest essence of your power for all of us, every single one of us, believe it or not, right? Believe it or not, because you could look in the world and think and not see people at a soul level. But all of us have access to our soul's power, which is in unconditional love. Unconditional love for self, unconditional love for others. And if you can go there, and understand that that is always an energy you can trust in yourself, it will help with the transformations and transitions that this year has been guiding all of us through, and will continue to guide us through. But we get stronger with these energies. We get stronger in this trust within ourselves. And that's truly how the Scorpio energy is at its highest and best, is when the power is sourced from within, and it is able to come from a place of intentions that allows everyone to be in their power. So this new moon is a great time to really get clear about your intentions, what you want to manifest, and where you see yourself moving forward on your journey. Now, you might be listening to this show after the new moon in Scorpio, and that's perfectly fine too. People come to this information when it's right for them. And so what I feel is that if you're receiving this message at any point, always check in with your intention. Always check in with how you're using your power. And always check in with the deeper parts of you that are so perfect that nothing outside, nothing in the external world, no one else's energy can truly infringe upon it. This past weekend, I went offline with my family. We rented a cabin in the woods. I try and do that a few times a year just to be away, because we have our phones, so I can't say I'm off the grid, but we don't have TV and there's no computer screens and there's no other interference. And so there's this sense of less energetic interference. There's board games and there's magazines and there's books and there's nature. And it's just this quiet time that is so grounding. And I was sitting out on the porch meditating in the rocking chair, and there were beautiful trees everywhere. And the Scorpio time of year is what we don't see, what's under the surface. And in nature, Scorpio is underground, and it's the roots. It's the roots of the trees. Taurus is the tree, is what you see. It's the earth elements. It's what thrives on the planet. This is Taurus energy. But Taurus is the opposite of Scorpio, and the Scorpio energies are the roots underneath. And you don't always know how deep the roots go. You don't know how strong they are, or where they travel, or the crevices and where they go, right? You can't see those roots. But this is the time of year to be in tune with your own energetic roots, because those roots really keep the tree in balance. If you're going to grow high, if that tree is going to grow high, it has to have really strong roots. So in Scorpio, we're looking at the roots of our energies, of our emotions, of our intentions, and we look at where those roots have traveled or where they have gone. You look at the roots of your life, the roots of your emotions, and how you have perhaps forgotten some parts of your journey or some parts of your soul's experience, but it's there. Scorpio is very much about the Akashic records and the story of your soul's journey, the story of where you have experienced different energies. And so it's very mystical and magical. It's a time of understanding that you're so much more under the surface than what can be seen. And it's allowing yourself to energetically go there and to look at what is happening in your own energetic roots that perhaps you need to change around, look at differently, bring in higher consciousness to those roots. So that's the energy of right now, is just saying, okay, at this time with the sun in Scorpio, what are my energetic roots that are kept hidden, kept away, perhaps, kept in the dark? It's our shadow work. It's our shadow energies. It's a time of understanding that is also our power. And it can be used with different intentions. And from a spiritual level, we have all kinds of power that's neither good nor bad, but it's how we use it. It's our intentions with it. We all have shadow energies, but if we're aware of those shadow energies, if we're conscious of them, then we are in charge of them. We have power over them. Because we can say, oh, I see you there, shadow. I see you there when you feel jealous, when you feel bitchy, when you feel revenge, or you feel turmoil. Like, that shadow energy is something that you are still in charge of when you're at a higher place of consciousness. Lower places of consciousness is when it feels like it's in control of you and that you can't manage it and you don't know how to, say, put the harness on it. How do I harness this, right? Well, that's when it's too much. It's become too excessive. And so part of the journey of the Scorpio energy and this new moon is understanding that I am a full and complete energetic being, and I hold energies across many expressions, many emotional expressions, many spiritual expressions, and what do I choose that's truly powerful for me and my soul's growth? And the answer to that question is often something that makes you uncomfortable because it's something that you have to do new or that you have to learn, that you have to heal. So part of the Scorpio energy is we step out of a comfort zone. See, Taurus is actually your comfort zone. Scorpio is where you're going to go beyond that comfort zone. And it's uncomfortable, and it can be trying and emotional and hard and intense. But that's where the growth is, right? That's where also you understand more of your power because you've moved into this new understanding of yourself through the growth. But this time, this new moon and these dates that we're moving through here are all supportive of this work and of the healing. And that's why you can have something big come up or something emotional or something tough, and you're going to move through it faster because you at a soul level, you're ready to accelerate through it. You really are. It's just part of the energies right now, especially with Jupiter going into Sagittarius. Now, I did a separate show on this, so I won't go too much into that energy, but it's big right now, and hopefully you feel it. Hopefully you feel something rising up in you as Jupiter leaves the energy of Scorpio, enters Sagittarius, and it's like the wild horse taking off. Sagittarius is associated with horses, wild horses who just want to run free. And they break out of that dungeon of Scorpio. But it's really the dungeon of ourselves, right? It's like that sense of I had to learn a lot about myself. I had to see those roots. I had to see what was under the surface. And now I just want fresh air and freedom. I want a new adventure. I'm new. After the Scorpio energies and the Scorpio cycles, there's a part of us that's always new because it's learned something. It has transformed. It has become a new energy, whether that is a new energetic expression or something that expresses itself differently in an energy field. There's so many potentials and possibilities. But it's that sense of I have to break out into this new vast field and explore it and run into it. The Sagittarius energy is meant to bring you to this new place of understanding who you are. And Jupiter in Sag, it's going to begin a new phase of learning, where you've learned what the lessons were, you've learned what the healing was, you've learned more about yourself, you've accumulated wisdom, and you're going to keep accumulating it. You open up to that expansive energy, and this is going to be felt in a way that could be quite interesting. And it does depend on your chart where 0 degrees of Sagittarius is, because Jupiter hitting that, it just turns on this giant spotlight. And it can feel like something comes in and lifts you up, raises you up, and it can simply be an energy within yourself of believing in yourself again, trusting yourself again, having faith in what can happen. Today in the car, I heard the song by Journey, Don't Stop Believin', just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She takes the midnight bus going anywhere. There's a Sag for you. And then right after that, I heard the Billy Joel song, Keepin' the Faith. And you might hear more of these songs on the radio because that music is wonderfully healing and wonderful ways for us to move energy and to tune into ourselves and to help raise up where we've been. And so you could hear some songs or some messages that give you that faith, that give you that return of, okay, it's a new time now. I'm new, I'm different, and I feel confident in where I can go next, where I can travel next. So that energy is coming through, and I hope that it feels, I hope you feel it, really ASAP. I know it's been a tough road for many people with all this intense Scorpio energy, but I hope you feel something rising within you. And then, of course, that 1111 portal that I mentioned that opens up new energies, and this can often be coming through our sleep states, our dream states. It can be felt through even astral travel, where as you're sleeping, parts of your soul's energy comes in and is integrated during these 1111 portals. And I feel like, again, it's very mystical, and it's energetics, and it's just that sense of, like, I see it as a new overlay of your sense of power now. So it pertains to the current energies that you've been moving through and feeling, and it gives you this new overlay, sort of like a new blanket or a new way to absorb. I'm seeing them as little pyramids. That's cool. Little pyramids that are integrated, and they are supporting your sense of power and your trust in the transformation that you've been going through. And that's not going to stop. The transformation continues, but each of these downloads supports us. And by the way, these little pyramids are definitely filled with like a white, yellow, golden light. And it looks really beautiful and very easily, like they come onto the skin, they come into the energy field, and then they just melt. And they just melt into you. So they can also be warming, and they could be very buzzy. So on that note about buzziness, ever since November began, I've felt very buzzy. I haven't been able to sleep very well. I've been feeling lots of spinning and circling in my crown chakra and my third eye chakra. And I'm sure that many of you have too. You've been feeling these energies. And so what happens during these big energy periods is that parts of our pineal glands are activated too. So the pineal gland is in your brain, and in the physical body, it works with your endocrine system, with your hormones, with melatonin. It helps your body to regulate itself. And the pineal gland is something that also correlates with your spiritual growth and your intuition, and it relates to your third eye. So it does a lot for us, and when we're moving through big energy periods, we often feel the pineal gland working a lot, and that's why it relates to your thyroid. That's why your body, when you're feeling all these big energies, it can show up through your thyroid. It can show up through your hormones, right? It's like the physical body is getting all these messages from the pineal gland that something's out of whack, something's out of balance, it needs your attention, and that also relates to, again, the energies that we're feeling out there in the cosmos and that we're feeling as we ascend and awaken to higher energies. And the pineal gland is also what will wake you up at 3 a.m., at 4 a.m., if you've had that experience where you can't sleep or you find yourself awake. Your pineal gland is receiving energy transmissions, and it will wake you up. And you will look to your mind to figure it out or to ask questions or to know what's going on, but it's actually more of an intuitive upgrade. It's, you know how your computer does all these upgrades on the programs it's running, whether it's the operating system or something that's running, and there's times when your computer will just have to run to complete the upgrades. It's the same with the pineal gland. It's doing some kind of upgrade energetically, and that's why it wakes you up. And it can be hard to get back to sleep, and it can be hard to know what's going on. And so one thing I wanted to offer you that's worked for me is something called Brahmi Oil. It's B as in boy, Rahmi, Brahmi Oil. It's an Ayurvedic oil that's been used for centuries to help with mind and nervous system issues, to calm the mind, calm the nervous system. Brahmi oil is a sesame-based oil, and what I do is to take a little bit and I put it on my forehead before I go to bed. And you can also take it and massage it on the bottom of your feet. The bottom of your feet have the biggest pores on your body. So anything you rub on the bottom of your feet, they go through the biggest pores on your body. They get absorbed, and they support what your body needs right then. And so I put the Brahmi oil on the forehead, like where the third eye is, and it helps. It helps some nights better than others, but it's really helped me a lot in November so far. And it helps to calm. It helps to soothe. It helps to relax. And I feel like energetically it lets the pineal gland know that it's supported and that, it almost like gives it a permission to, okay, you can do the upgrades and do the work, but please don't wake me up. Please let me sleep because I need my sleep. So Brahmi oil has worked for me, and there's other oils out there, other essential oils that might work for you. Anything of the earth, anything natural, anything that's really grounding to your body and soothing and calming can be really supportive. So this is a big month, and I offer that to you with the intention that it helps. If you're feeling this way, again, the pineal gland, okay, I'm going to talk a bit more about that. The pineal gland is important for your intuitive development because it's how you also start to open up your third eye, and it's how you're feeling these energies that come through and you're processing it. And it helps with integrating what you need. And I also feel how it will help understand messages that your body is giving you. Again, if it's a thyroid, endocrine, hormones, and there's more. Okay, there's more areas, so you can look up what the pineal gland regulates and what it's associated with. But please know that could be part of what you're feeling because it's a big part of spiritual awakening. And it's like we have these little radio honing devices in the pineal gland that are quite elevated in their ability to compute energies. And this is just what I feel and hear intuitively about. It's almost like I feel that the pineal gland talks to Uranus. It talks directly to Uranus and it knows what's going on because that's cosmic intelligence. Uranus is the planet of brilliance and genius and what is profound. And I feel like there's a direct connection from Uranus to your pineal gland. And that's why I am feeling how all this stuff is big right now because of Uranus back in Aries, triggering the south node and the north node, and it can flood your system, energetically flood you, whether that's emotionally, intuitively, spiritually. The pineal gland helps people awaken. You can see it helps with the auras and the chakras. There's just so much with it. And this is all information that I hope helps you know how to take care of yourself and your body and a little bit more about what's going on. There's a lot that scientists don't know about the brain. And I feel like there's so much about us that's more cosmic, and that's why it's exciting as well, is to see how all this can correlate and make sense to us intuitively and spiritually. So your pineal gland is doing a lot of work right now, and anything you can do to nourish it, to take care of it, to soothe it, will be beneficial. You've heard me say I'm a huge fan of acupuncture. But anything that supports the body's energy meridians is really great right now, whether that's the Reiki, there's Jin Shin Jitsu, there's acupressure, there's so many modalities these days. So take care of your body right now, support that pineal gland, and it will help with these big energies because they're transmissions. We're receiving energetic transmissions. And it's a lot. It really is, which is why we need to sleep, which is why we do not need to be woken up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And have our own inner computers going and going and going. So November is going to continue to be a time of ourselves integrating into this next energy field that feels, how do I say this? I'm trying to find one word. Maybe dynamic is the word. A sense that, okay, I can feel how I'm different. I can feel how I've changed, how I've evolved, how parts of me have deeply, deeply healed at a soul level, and I must honor that in myself, and I must walk in the world with that new knowingness. This is also Jupiter and Sagittarius. The knowingness of who you are now, and honoring that with a sense of a deeper sense of belief in yourself that could feel very fresh and very new. I'm just going to listen here for a minute. Okay, Neptune. Neptune at 13 degrees of Pisces is retrograde, and this is the energy of escapism, where we want to go to our higher self, our spiritual self, for understanding. Help me make sense of this human journey, is what we say to Neptune. Help me understand, what am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to understand? What are the messages? And so right now, really, make time to ask the questions that you need information about, that you need answers to. Ask the questions. We have a really fascinating Mercury Retrograde coming up, and on Monday I'll be doing a show all about Mercury Retrograde. And Mercury Retrograde is going to be in Sagittarius at 13 degrees. And it's going to be squaring Neptune for a lot of its journey in Sag. It's going to square it and then back away and then come back and square Neptune again. And this is very mystical energies. This is other realms. This is the stuff that we don't know what believe. We don't know what's right. Neptune makes it fuzzy. And so we're going deeper into the intuitive development. We're going deeper into the messages that you feel are right and that you know are right. So it's the claircognizance energies. It's the clairvoyance. It's understanding that these are part of our talents and abilities as we ascend. And so I feel that this Mercury retrograde is going to be key for opening up and practicing more of those spiritual gifts. And people can say, oh, I can't do it, or oh, I'm not psychic, or oh, that's not me. Well, you can shut it down and you can open it up. So I'm just going to lay it out there that you can say yes, or you can be willing to step into those parts of yourself. And they could be brand new parts of yourself. And that's exciting. But that's part of this Mercury retrograde time. So Mercury retrograde starts November 16th at 13 degrees of Sag, where it will square Neptune. And I'll be doing a full show for you on that journey of this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius time. So I won't spend too much time on it here, but just know that that's coming up as well. So November is meant to really be a time of deep change where there's no going back. There's no place to go back to. You could even feel like you've had to burn a bridge because there's nothing for you over there. There's nothing else to do in that energy and that experience and whatever it might be. Scorpio burns bridges because basically it's like you're dead to me. You don't exist. But there's also the sense of you're burning away parts of yourself. You're burning away what you just don't want to carry forward. And that can be with good intentions. It can be with good intentions. I've been doing this podcast since 2012, and I'll be approaching episode number 400 soon. I think it'll be episode 400 before the end of this year. And I was speaking with a client who said that she had listened to the show from the beginning and that she listened to I think it was a second episode where I channeled Whitney Houston. And she had asked me, Molly, have you felt Whitney Houston around anymore, or any messages there around her journey? And I said to her that, I felt like Whitney Houston came back to be with her daughter when her daughter passed, because her daughter basically couldn't live here without her mom, and that I then saw two butterflies like flying away, and that they were done with a lot about where the earth is at right now and the experiences, and that at a soul level, there is no good or bad. At a soul level, there's only different energy experiences. There's only different experiences of energy. And so some people transition through death, and some people stay, right? And we stay to keep moving forward. And so I'm bringing this up because there's a sense that if you can see things as different energy experiences and not judge yourself and not be overly critical or overly hard on yourself, and to be willing to heal any shame, to be willing to ask for help, to be willing to reach out or to honor what you need right now, what needs to be healed, please trust that. Please trust that there are people who support you, who can be there for you, to hold your hand, help you through, and understand there's more of you to understand, that there's more of your own energy to understand, and that we have to ask. We have to ask Spirit. We have to ask our angels. You have to put it out there and initiate it. It's our free will that initiates the invitation and puts it out there. And so please know that this has been a big year, and you're meant to be different. And if anything about that feels too big or too overwhelming, just know that there are so many resources these days to support your ongoing transition into this next time, into this next chapter. And so I say that because I trust there's people who just need that reminder, and to know how we all signed up for this. We're here for a reason, and we're here because We're meant to honor what we need right now. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see you back on Monday for the next show. You can find out more about my offerings over at consciouscoolchic.com or at mollymccord.online. Thank you, friends. I appreciate your energy and your presence, and I will see you back here on Monday. Take good care. Bye-bye.